I believe that it was a very, very heavy day, a lot of stuff. So I will start with, just to make the environment a bit light before I will start to speak about the reason for October 7, I will start with a joke. So start with a short joke. So there was a farmer, he was 60 years old. He decided that he wanted to go to the academy and to learn, to do his first BA. So he went to the academy, he got into the class, and then the lecturer got in, and he saw that there is no one there except of him. So the lecturer say, you know what, if there is no one here except of you, I will leave. So the farmer told him, listen, you know, I'm a farmer, and I have some cows. If I'm getting to my farm and I see only one cow and all of the other left, I don't give her some food to eat. So teach me whatever you can. So the teacher, the lecturer, was so excited for his answer, and he said, you know what? Okay. And he was speaking and speaking and speaking, supposed to speak 1 hour. The lesson should take 1 hour, but he spoke for 3 hours because we were so thrilled and excited for his answer. And after he finished, so he said, okay, what do you say about my first lesson? So the farmer said, you know, I'm just a farmer, 60 years old. If I get into my farm and I see only one cow in the farm, do I shove all of the food to one cow? No. So 1 hour was enough. So I will try to do it very, very light, because speaking about October 7, or the reason for October 7, I can speak for 3 hours, but I will try to make it short. So from the beginning of the war, there are two questions that I've been asked time after time, again and again. In Israel, and even abroad, I've just been last week in the United States, and many people that I met asked me the same question. And from the first day, and even as I said in the last week, the first question was, how did it happen? How it's possible that despite all of the signs that were there, and we know that all of the signs were there, how is possible that the IDF, the Shin Bet, the government, all of the security system of Israel did not notice all of these signs? How the Hamas managed to surprise the state of Israel and the IDF? It's a big question. Second question is how you, and we say you, the IDSF, our organization, knew exactly what's going to happen. And we say that a couple of times before, like we started like 2 years before. We say that again and again to many groups, and even the media. How did you alert? And why nobody listened to you after all of your predictions that become materialized? How did you know that? So I will start with a real story that happened to me to try to explain you why we saw all of the signs and we still decided to ignore them. So 3 months after the war began, I was asked to escort a special man. I believe that you heard his name. His name is Charles Kushner. Charles Kushner is Jared Kushner's father. He came to Israel. He wanted to visit in Kfar Gaza and all of the other kibbutzim and all of our other villages to learn about what happened. So I walked with him inside Kfar Gaza, tried to tell him about everything that happened, tried to explain him. We saw all of the atrocities and everything that happened there. And on the way back to his car, he stopped for a moment and he looked concerned. So I asked him, Charles, what's wrong? What happened? So he asked me the same question. I don't understand. All of the signs were there. Why didn't you saw that? Everybody said that all of the signs were there. How did it happen? So I asked him, Charles, are you a businessman? He said, yes, I am. No, are you a good businessman? So I'm a very good businessman. Have you been a businessman in 2008? Yes. You know, all of the market collapsed. Did you lose money? He said, I lost a lot of money. But I heard that all of the signs were there before 2008. How did you notice if you're such a good businessman? And he told me, you know, I noticed the signs, but I was sure that my money is going to make much more money. And I ignored the signs. Why? Because I had some kind of agenda about how the market's going to work. And I ignored the signs. And I told him that's exactly what happens in Israel. All of the signs were there. But we were stick to our agenda and our conception that was not fit with the reality. And we ignored all of the signs. Again and again and again. And then the reality just surprised everyone in October 7. So what was the agenda? What are all of the conception, the coins of the money? What are the monies that we were sure that we're going to make much more money? And I tried to describe it very, very shortly, and maybe to give you some example of some of the conceptions that we're still holding right now when we're fighting against the Hezbollah and against Iran and so on. The first agenda, the first coin, is that the Hamas agenda is not an action plan. The Hamas organization declare loud and clear, time after time, that they want to eradicate, to destroy, to eliminate Israel. He say that, and you know, loud and clear, even sing the song that everybody know, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. But we had another song that we sing back. You know the song, Parole, Parole, Parole? In France, it's just the words. Nothing with the reality. You just declare, but you have no ability to do that. We never really believed that his word are not just a word, it's even part of a plan. And we were sure that he's deterred. He cannot do that. And even when their leader, one of their leaders, Mahmoud al-Zahar, said, we will never give up our dream. We were getting ready. We will conquer Israel. We will kill all of the Jewish people. He said that. And he said, we will never leave our plan. This is just a matter of time until we will do that. We ignored. And it's happened to us sometimes even in our private life. You know, when our car making sometimes noise and we say, this is not my car, this is the other car just next to me. This is not my car's noise. Maybe my car become a sport car, that's the noise. But it's not a problem. We ignore all of the signs. Second agenda, or the second conception that we hold, that the terror organization, all of the terror organizations, have a social responsibility. We were sure that they will never do that because they feel responsibility for the society. They have more to lose. How will they rebuild Gaza again if we will attack them? How will they rebuild all of destruction? How will they find again a work to all of these people that were working in Israel? Terror organizations have zero responsibility for the society. Not only in Gaza, even in Lebanon, everywhere. For them, the society is just a platform for their ideology. Just a platform. They use them, they abuse them just to do what they're dreaming to do. The jihad dream. They don't have any responsibility for civilians. If we would think in any, I mean, we're talking about any terror organization, that they feel responsibility for society, that's not true. Third, we were sure that we can buy quiet. If we will just give them much more money. Okay, we left Gaza in 2005. We said maybe all of this was about property. Maybe they just want this land, but then they start to launch a rocket into Israel and just become stronger. And they made more and more terror attacks. So they said maybe the problem is money. They don't have work. Maybe we'll give them more money, give them more abilities, let them get into Israel and to work in Israel. Maybe their life will be different. So maybe they will leave the terror. And even 2 days before October 7, more than 20,000 Palestinians from Gaza worked in Israel. But again, we learn that it's not true. Even if we give them work, even if we give them the ability to get more money, that's not what makes the change. Not wealthy life. You know, in the pyramid, Maslow pyramid, in the highest point, in the summit, we want a gentle life. For them, in the highest point of the pyramid, in the summit, they want to jihad. Short story. One woman, her name is Wafa Samir Bas. You can see that on YouTube, everything that I'm telling you. Her gas system in her house was broken. One day, it just blew up, and she injured, and 90% of her body burned. So, of course, she didn't ask Egypt to open the gate for her to get treatment. She asked Israel to take responsibility for what happened to her and to give her treatment. So she got in Israel, time after time, 20 surgeries in Beersheba hospital. And the next time that she tried to cross the checkpoint, you know, we have all of the indicators and so on, she started to beep. And you can see that this movie on the YouTube. So we asked her, and in the microphone, in the speakers, take off your coat and so on, and we found that you have more than 8 kilos of TNT. And she tried to blow up herself, but it didn't work. So we catch her, we investigate her, and we asked her, and you can see that on the video too, where did you want to blow up yourself? And she said, in the hospital. Where exactly in the hospital? She said, in the same apartment where I got the treatment. So they asked her, the Shabak, the Shin Bet guy, asked her, why, that the nurse wasn't good to you? Say, no, they were very good. What about the doctor? Maybe they were not gentle? Very gentle. So why? Why did you want to blow up yourself inside the hospital? And then she answered, amazing answer. Because my biggest dream is to be a shaheed. And when you hear this answer, you understand that they have a different wish in their life. I don't say everyone, but the radical Islam that get into Gaza since the 80s changed everything. By the way, not only in Israel. You can see that these signs more and more all over the world. The four conception, we were sure that more that it's important to win the terror in Gaza, or the terror generally, it's important to win the Supreme Court in Hague, to win the judge in Hague. I mean, they have their morals. They say to us how we should fight against the terror, and we have to fight in a way that once we will get to Hague, we can beat the attorney and beat the judge, but the terror will still exist. And there are many examples for how time after time we lose in the battles. We lost a lot of life because someone there that have a special morals about how to fight against a terror organization say this is the way that you need to fight. And that's what remained, that terror still exists in Judea and Samaria, in Gaza, Lebanon, and so on. Fifth, we trust the fence, the obstacle. We have the fence that surrounds all of Gaza. By the way, it started only in the end of the 90s, because until the 90s there was no terror. So as a child, I got with my dad into Gaza to buy some cheap stuff, and they were working in Israel. There was no fence around Gaza, but the fence and the obstacle started only at the end of the 90s because the terror started. So we had a very, very heavy obstacle, high and massive. It took them 15 minutes from the first moment that they started to drive to Israel until they get to the first house. Why? because we believed something that is against everything that we learn in the army, the academy in the army. That obstacle is enough. And even some of the highest commander in the IDF told to some of the mayors around Gaza Strip and some of the citizens, just before October 7, you are living in a very secure area, more than any other area in the world. Why? Because we have the best obstacle around Gaza. And we didn't did one of the main thing that we should do. If you have an obstacle, but you don't have soldiers, and you don't have you don't have guns, and you don't deter them, obstacle is nothing. They will learn how to break it, and that's what they did. They just practiced 2 years how to break it fast, and that's what they did. I told to the Southern Area Command, the general, told him, you know, now they're starting to build all this obstacle again. I told him, you don't need to do that. Just, we call it in Hebrew, stupid, you need to build a stupid fence. Stupid fence is like a sheep fence, very, very low. It's very, very, very easy just to get through this fence. You say, why? How do you say that? Say, we're already doing that, you know, in the north, in the Golan Heights. Say, what? What are you talking about? We are doing that in the Golan Heights? That's what we're doing? We're having this kind of obstacle in the Golan Heights? Say, yes. You know, there is a lot of areas in the Golan Heights that there is a mains, right, in the ground. Mines, sorry. And it's surrounded only with a stupid fence, very low. But there is a small sign that says there's mines. Nobody crossed that. Why? Because people understand that if they will cross this fence, the mines will blow up and they will kill them. The mind's not thinking. If you cross the fence, only one thing can happen. But if we're building a very massive fence, but nothing happened if you're coming close, trying to break it, and they did it a couple of times, nothing happened. So this is just an obstacle, not more than an obstacle. And the last, as a society, and I'm telling you this is the last thing, before I'm blaming the IDF, before I'm blaming the Shabak, the Shin Bet, before I'm blaming the chief of the staff and the prime minister, I'm blaming us as a society for what happened. And I tell you why. Because time after time, you know, when the siren started at 6:30, I called to my commander, to the general, the Gaza division commander, and asked him a weird question. Is this a regular rocket or something different? Now think about this question. Is this a regular rocket or something different? How can rockets, thousands of rockets that they're launching to Israel, can be something regular? I have a friend from Seattle. His name is Dan. One time he came to Israel and we were sitting together in Tel Aviv in a coffee shop. You know, all of you have been in Tel Aviv, right? You know, Tel Aviv is one big coffee shop. Actually, it started as a coffee shop and extended to be a city. So we were sitting in a coffee shop, and then like two years ago, all of a sudden a siren started. So he was shocked. Yaron, what should we do? I told him, relax, Dan, this is just a rocket. And we start to walk straight to the safe room in the coffee shop. After the siren stopped, immediately everybody came out and sat again around the table. Then one of the guys that were sitting next to us called to the waiter and said, waiter, come here. He was very upset. The waiter came and said, what's wrong? Why my coffee is cold? So my friend said, what? What was this question? He asked why my coffee is cold. I told him, you're nuts. There were just the rockets blew up above our head, and you care about his coffee? I'm telling you, as a society, we decided that we're accepting and we can live with these rockets. What's the problem? We have the Iron Dome, we have the siren, we have the safe room. So okay, we can live with that. We went and we were protest about the Supreme Court. We protest about the rise, the price of the milk and the price of stupid things. We never protest against the rockets. We accept that. We said, okay, it's only in the north and so on. So 2 lessons, 2 touchstones. If your enemy say that he wants to attack you, and he's practicing, and he's getting ready to do that, believe him. Don't believe anybody else. Even you don't believe yourself if you think something different. And the third, to be initiate. All the time to do the first one to attack your enemy. Don't let him to surprise you. One is surprise you, and you are the second one to attack back. You will attack back, but you will be bleeding. And that would be much more harder to recover and to stand back. So I want to thank all of you for coming and to being in this important day. I want to thank Or for doing everything here. It's a great, great day, very interesting, and I hope to see you again in Israel. Thank you.